morning, student. Here I am Ria, your chemistry teacher. Now in this video I explain you about the separating techniques, that is the next half chapter of Is Matter Around Us Pure, class 9th. And there are so many separating techniques that we are using in our lab. So some of them are fractional distillation process, chromatography, filtration, decantation, that we also use in our homes. Some short techniques we can use at there. So separating methods, there are so many separating methods: chromatography, filtration, magnetic attraction, crystallization, simple distillation, fractional distillation, separating furnace, sublimation, evaporation. And how it can be separated: in chromatography, compounds in the solution with the same properties. In filtration, solids or group of solids and liquids in the mixture. Magnetic attraction, magnetic substance from the non-magnetic ones. Crystallization, dissolved solid in a solution. Simple distillation, liquids in a solution. Fractional distillation, mixture of miscible, that means the two liquids dissolve in each other, miscible liquids. Separating funnel, immiscible liquids, that the liquids which doesn't dissolve in each other. Sublimation, substances that sublime from two substances. Evaporation, solid that cannot be decomposed when heated in the solution. So these are the separating method and how it separates the components from the mixture from the solution, that can be done with the help of these separating methods. So one by one I will explain you all the separating methods and some other that are not mentioned here. So here first we deal with the chromatography. Chromatography is paper chromatography. We are using the paper that is known to be the Whatman filter paper that we are using in our labs. So there is a specific Whatman filter paper and there are so many numbers. Whatman filter paper number this. That number is the significance of the paper. That shows how many pore size, what is the pore size of the paper, so that the solvent can travel upward or downward. That technique that we used in our labs to separate the component present in the mixture or solution. So principle is that this method is based on the solubility is mix घुलने की क्षमता. So this method is based on the solubility of different components in the solvent. सॉल्वेंट में कितने सारे कंपोनेंट्स, कितने डिफरेंट कंपोनेंट्स प्रेजेंट हैं, तो दैट इज़ दिस मेथड इज़ बेस्ड ऑन दैट. द इंक विच वी यूज़ has water as the solvent with the dye dissolved in it. As water rises on the filter paper, it carries along with it in the dye particle. So the color component which is more soluble in water arises faster, and in this way the color gets separated. So here we are dealing with, suppose we are taking this in the picture you can see there is one beaker. Here we add the water we can add any solvent such as alcohol, ethanol and so on. Organic solvents we can add, organic solutions, solvents that can be evaporate, that are the solvents. Or water is acting as a universal solvent, so we can also add water. So here we do take a strip, take a some length vertical strip of the Whatman filter paper. This is not a normal filter paper. There is a Whatman filter paper. At Whatman filter paper you have to put the line 1 centimeter above from the bottom, and at the middle you have to put the spot of the ink or the mixture of the ink. Suppose you are taking the mixture of blue, red, yellow and so many inks, and there is a black spot at the mid. You have to put the spot at 3 times so that the spot become dark. And after putting each drop or each spot, you have to dry it before putting next one. So when you put 3 drops on the Whatman filter paper, you have to dry it for some while, and then you have to put in the jar without touching at the wall of the container or beaker, and you have to dip that line, that point in the solvent, and keep it for 5 to 6 minutes and see the observation. In the next beaker, the component present in the mixture of the ink gets separated at the different spots you can see as brown, blue, orange, yellow, red, etc. And there is one end of this solvent travel. This in the next beaker you can see the strip become blue at particular level. That line is known as the solvent line. that line and that the end line up to which the solvent travel, that is known to be the solvent line. So solvent up to solvent line, there are so many spots in the second beaker, that so many spots shows that different components are separated from the spot of mixture of ink that you see in the first beaker. So in this way the separation of the components takes place. In case of the chromatography, we take the mixture of ink, or sometimes there is one example, best example, then if you separate the drugs from blood, then you take the drop of blood in it and use the particular solvent according to the condition required. When you dip the blood spot in the whatever solvent required, then the drop of blood dissociate different components like these spots. That means you can separate the drugs from the blood. So this is one of the technique that we use in also hospitals to test the blood, or in the blood labs and so on. So the technique is that place a spot of ink with the help of the capillary tube, and this can be only done with the capillary tube. Capillary tube is a thin hollow tube with the help of which we can put the spot at the center. Baseline about 2 to 3 centimeter you can take. We are doing with 1 centimeter. Allow the spot to dry and hang it in the glass jar with its lower end immersed in the solvent. Separation of component: the solvent runs over the spot and carries the components to a distance along the paper indicated by the color spot. So this color spot traveling indicates that the components from the ink, mixture of ink, can be separated easily. So this is one of the technique that we are using chromatography. They have the examples like separation of the ink, separation of the different juices from the flowers, or separation of the drug from the blood, and so on. So our next technique is centrifugation. Centrifugation, there is a machine of centrifugation like that. I give you in the picture. So there is a circulating machine. These are the cuvettes, small test tubes known as cuvettes, in which these are doing the centrifugation of the blood. We can do also the centrifugation of the milk. Okay, so milk contains, suppose blood contain any thick particles, that thick particles, because of the movement in the machine that is known to be the centrifugation, rotates, and the thick particle or the precipitate gets settled down, that we have to knead. That means we separate two things, that is the precipitate and the filtrate part. In the test tube you see the two colors, that is the yellow and the red. This yellow and red, and you can see yellow color denotes the plasma and red color denotes the red blood cell. So you can separate the plasma and red blood cell with the help of the centrifugation machine. You have to fill the blood in the cuvette, cap it, and put it in the machine. That machine get electrified and rotate. When it rotate, the plasma and the red blood cell get separated, and you get the each of the component from the blood. So in this way, centrifugation is a technique that is based on the principle settling down under the mechanical rotation, where insoluble heavier solid particles are present in a insoluble solid liquid mixture. So technique is the mixture is placed in the test tube and kept in a centrifugation machine. On centrifugation, the solid particles settle down under the influence of an outward centrifugal force, and the liquid components of the mixture float above it. So there is a diagram you can see there is an insoluble solid plus liquid. The rotation is possible, and when it is rotated, this liquid and the solid part gets separated, and that is the main technique used by this centrifugation method. Example is separation of the cream from milk. If you want to separate the cream from the milk, then you have to put the milk in the cuvette and rotate it in the centrifugation machine. Then the cream settle down, the solid particle, the heavier particle or the denser particle settle down at the bottom, and the liquid particle remain at upward. So in this way you separate the cream from the milk. So this is again one example. So first we have read the chromatographic technique, in which the components separate through the solvent use and the solvent riser, and we do the spotting. Here in centrifugation you have to put the liquid in the cuvette and it rotate, and then we get the separate of the two component, one of which is heavier solid that settle down, and one of which is lighter that become a liquor in nature. Liquor is the liquid part that is upward, that is plasma. Plasma is known to be the liquor part, and red blood cell is a solid part because it is heavy than plasma, so it is settled down. Okay, and there is one you can see one white line is there, that is known to be the white blood cell. This also gets separated, that is depend upon the density concept. So density of the red blood cell is more as compared to white blood cell and as compared to plasma. The plasma is not heavier as compared to this, so it can be present at the upward side. Next is sublimation process. You can also do in done in your first chapter. So here is a technique. This method is based on the sublimable and non-sublimable nature of the solid. Technique is the mixture of sublimable and non-sublimable substances heated in an evaporating dish covered with an inverted funnel. This result in the evaporation of the sublimable solid and further condensation on the side of the funnel, leaving the non-sublimable solid behind the dish. So you familiar with this diagram? There is a china dish on which inverted funnel. In china dish we put the ammonium chloride vapors on burner. On burning it, the vapors get settled down at the wall of the inverted funnel, and there is a cotton plug so that no particles go throughout. So this is one of the experiment. Example is separation of the ammonium chloride, sodium chloride in the lab. This is one of the experiment in your practical. Separation of iodine and sodium chloride in the lab. So you can see first is your dry ice, that is solid CO2, dry ice. Next is your camphor. So you can see how camphor evaporate. You have put the camphor, that is kapoor. When you are heating the kapoor or camphor, so the solid particles immediately convert into the gaseous particle without changing into the liquid one. Here you can see iodine crystal. So iodine crystal is a solid and there is a fumes of violet color. So solid turns into the fume, or you can say the gaseous substance. So in this way the solid sublimation process takes place. Next is your separating funnel. So here is the instrument at the right hand side. You can see the instrument that you are using in the lab. So here is a separating funnel. Principle is this method based on the separation of mixture containing the two immiscible liquid. So here we are doing the two immiscible liquid को हम separate कर रहे हैं, containing a heavy and a light liquid. So the technique is the liquid mixture is added to the separating funnel. This instrument is known to be the separating funnel. And the funnel allowed to stand for some time without any disturbance. तो हमें इसको डिस्टर्ब छेड़ना नहीं है, सिर्फ उसको क्लैम्प पे स्टैंड कर एज इन रख देना है. The heavier immiscible liquid settle down and the lighter liquid float above it. The two liquids can be removed separately with the help of the tap provided at the bottom of the funnel. So this is the funnel. You can see there is a one stop cock, that is your tap. Here is a funnel. At the bottom heavy liquid is settled down, above that lighter liquid, and there is a separating funnel having a knob that is known to be the cock on it. So you can release the pressure by opening the cock if there is a volatile liquid or any other liquid. Example, separation of the kerosene and water. You can separate the kerosene and water, and similarly separation of oil and water. You can see in this. So here in the lab, in the bachelor's masters, you can do this. So here is a lab. You see the separating funnel, and there is two liquid. One is organic, other is aqueous. So you can see the line in between which separates both, and that is only depend upon the density concept. Here you can see water and oil. So there is a water and oil separation, and you can take two beakers, putting one beaker, open the knob, and up to the line you can separate one liquid, then put another beaker and open the knob, then you can take another liquid. So that means you separate the liquid because of the density concept. So more denser settle down first and less denser at the high. So this is the concept of separating funnel, in which you separate the two immiscible liquids. Next is evaporation process. Evaporation principle. This method is based on the evaporation of the liquid component in a soluble solid liquid mixture. Technique is the mixture is heated such that the liquid components evaporate and the solid remains behind. So there is a diagram. You can see there is a stand, burner, beaker contains the water particle, and on above there is a watch glass containing the ink. So on burning, the vapors of the ink generated, that means the evaporation process. Observation is ink is a mixture of dye in water, and thus we can separate the volatile component solvent from its non-volatile solute by the method of evaporation. So volatile component are always solvent. If you are doing this process with the salt solution, then salt can settle down and all the water convert into the vapors. So you can separate the salt from the salt solution. So there is only one method, that is the evaporation method, that is used for the separation of component from the homogeneous mixture. Hope you know what is homogeneous mixture. Homogeneous mixture is a mixture which is totally transparent in nature, and you cannot see the boundaries between the two components, that is solvent and solute. So here is one of the technique, that is evaporation in case of the salt solution, because salt took the spaces between the water molecules and it become homogeneous in nature. So there is a one method called evaporation which is used for the separation of two components, that is salt and water, from the salt solution. This is the picture. Here is step 1. You can do one thing. Impure solid, you have to stir it in the solvent that is known to be the water. So stirring is one process. Then you see the second step, you have to evaporating basin. So you have to evaporate the material. So in the third step, the crystals generated. So the hot solution is allowed to cool. When you are cooling the hot solution, the solid appears as a pure crystal. So this is one of the again new method, crystallization process, that I explain you in next slides. Hot solution is allowed to cool, the solid appears as a crystal. So the crystal in third step is appeared. In fourth steps, when you cool down the solution at the filter paper, the crystal appears like that. So there is a shiny crystalline. I will show you in the next slides how the crystal formed. So the cold solution is poured off to obtain the crystals, and the crystals may be dried by pressing them between sheets of the filter paper. So this is one of the technique, that is evaporation used. Next is distillation process. This is one of the important process. So this method used for the separation of components of a mixture containing two miscible liquids. Miscible liquids means the two liquids dissolve in each other without decomposition and have a sufficient difference in their boiling point. So there is a difference in their boiling point. The technique, taken the mixture in the distillation flask. I will explain you the diagram and the instrument that we are using to make the setup of the distillation process. First, I explain you the technique. And fit in the thermometer. Arrange the apparatus as shown in the given figure. Heat the mixture slowly, keeping a close watch on the thermometer. The liquid with a low boiling point, will vaporize and condense in the condenser and can be collected from the condenser outlet. The liquid with a high boiling point will be left behind in the distillation flask. So here is the diagram. You can see there is a clamp. I can explain you in this. There is a clamp. On clamp there is a burner. Above burner there is a distillating flask, or you can call is the round bottom flask. Round bottom flask connected with the help of connectors with the condensers. Condensers have the 2 points, that is the water out and the water in, yani water outlet and water inlet. There is a thermometer inside the round bottom flask, and condenser is connected to the distillate, yani receiving flask. So when you heat the mixture, the vapors come out, and the temperature of the vapor, that means the boiling point of the liquid, is measured by this thermometer, and when the vapor evaporate, that goes inside the condenser. The main work of the condenser, cooling down, because you are connecting the water inlet of the condenser with the tap, and one is the outlet of the water through which the hot water is exit. So inlet cools down your vapor, and that vapor again convert into the liquid, that is the distillate, and you can collect the distillate part in the receiving flask. So in this way you can separate the two miscible liquid, one liquid having the boiling point low and one liquid having the boiling point high. So the boiling point that generate at the thermometer when you are heating the mixture, so when the boiling point of one liquid reaches to the thermometer, that collected through the condenser in the distillation flask, and one liquid remains at the round bottom flask. So here you can separate the acetone and water or alcohol mixture from this distillation process or this distillation technique. Due to from this distillation technique you can separate the mixture of immiscible liquid. That means the two liquid that are dissolved in each other, they are separated by this technique called distillation. And distillation process, basically main principle is based on their boiling points. So if they are having the boiling point differences, then you can separate the two liquids from this process distillation. And condenser play a main role of cooling down the vapor to collect the distillate in the receiving flask, that is known to be the conical flask. So this is the conical flask in which the pink liquid converted, in which the mixture is contained, that is known to be the round bottom flask. Thermometer is connected at the neck of the round bottom flask, and the connectors are used to connect the condenser to the round bottom flask and the receiving flask. Receiving flask is also known as the conical flask, or you can put the beaker also, that shown in this diagram, that is in your NCERT also. So in this way the distillation process can be used. Next is fractional distillation process. The principle, this method is used for the separation of mixture containing two miscible liquids. Again, two miscible liquids we are dealing, but there is a difference between the boiling points. So for which the difference in their boiling point is less than 25 degrees Celsius. So there is one main aspect of this fractional distillation process, is that there is a difference in the boiling point which is less than 25 degrees Celsius. So in the previous one, simple distillation, there is no number of the temperature written there. There is no, maybe the temperature more than 25 degrees Celsius, that can be separated by the distillation process, which is the simple distillation process. But in this case, the boiling point, the liquid only separates having the boiling point less than 25 degrees Celsius. So here is the principle of fractional distillation. Now the technique is, the mixture is kept in the distillation flask, same procedure and same setup, but there is a difference in the flask that we are using here. Flask attached with a fractionating column. So one important thing that we have to add in this setup is fractionating column. Fractionating column is, you can see here, there is a fractionating column which contains a beads. This is known to be the borax beads. Here I cannot explain in the diagram, but this can be used in further higher studies, that borax bead is used to convert the vapor into the liquid form in the fractionating column, and that regulate the temperatures also. So here we are using the fractionating column having the glass beads. I mentioned in the technique glass beads, or you can use the borax beads. Borax beads you use in your higher studies. The flask is then carefully heated. The mixture first evaporates and later condenses. First, in this, the process of evaporation plus condensation takes place, and in that process only the condensation takes place, because there the fractionating column is not present. So here one addition is there. So the mixture first evaporates and later condense. The glass beads present in the fractionating column provide a large surface area for the vapor to cool down. So what is the importance of the glass bead here? So there is one more question will be there. The glass beads present in the fractionating column provide a large surface area large surface area for the vapors to cool down. This technique is used to separate the mixture made up of two miscible liquids with the difference of their boiling point less than 25 degrees Celsius. So here is a technique that is particularly used the Borex speeds column and the boiling point less than 25 degrees Celsius. That's why it is having the name fractional distillation. Separation of components. The liquids with a higher boiling point remains in the distillation flask after condensation, and the liquid with a lower boiling point collects in the receiver after condensation. So this is the main aspect and conclusion of the technique drawn. Here is a diagram. You can see, and examples are separation of the mixture of benzene and toluene. So this is both are your organic solvents, that is you can do in your higher studies. Separation of mixture of the water and carbon tetrachloride, that is again the solvent. Water and tetrachloride I shown in the lab also. Crude oil, तो basically it is used for the separation of crude oil by the fractional crude oil को हम सिर्फ fractional distillation process से ही separate कर सकते हैं, simple distillation process से नहीं कर सकते. Simple distillation process के acetone and water example हैं और alcohol और water example है, but here crude oil having the boiling point less than 25 degrees Celsius, that's why these components are using, because the temperature condition which is less than 25 degrees Celsius is important concept in this. So here is a demonstration of these. Here you take this is the crude oil sample. Anti-bumping granules. Here we are using the granules so that the liquid cannot bump if we are burning at directly to the flame. So here we are using the fractionating column that is used to evaporate easily, and there here putting the thermometer to justify the temperature. They are putting the condenser, water outlet and water inlet. Water inlet we are using the tap so that the condenser cool down the vapor easily. So the vapor cool down easily and then collected in the fractions was second, third, fourth, and you can estimate the boiling points of the different, and we can separate the two components according to their boiling point temperatures. So in this way fractional distillation is again very important technique used at industrial level as compared to the simple distillation. Simple distillation we can use in lab also. Next is to obtain different gases from the air. So how can you obtain the different gases from the air? So here you can see there is a fractional distillation again, but the method is different. Principle is this method is used for the separation of gases at different heights depending upon their boiling point. Now कौन से height पे कितनी height पे कौन सी gases available होती हैं, उनके boiling points क्या होते हैं, वो justification करने के बाद ही हम उसे fractional distillation process से separate कर पाते हैं. Technique क्या है? Air is a homogeneous mixture. You can know you know that air is a homogeneous mixture. And what are the properties of homogeneous mixture? Homogeneous mixture only separated from its component by the fractional distillation. No other method can be separate, or only the evaporation process, that is again consist in the fractional distillation. Air is first compressed. You have to compress. This diagram explain you the more explanation. This diagram. So here air is first compressed and then cooled by the increasing the pressure and decreasing the temperature. So this is one of the important technique for compressing the air. You have to increase the pressure and decrease the temperature. So there is one more question from there also. Air gets liquefied, that we already done in the first chapter, how we can liquefy the gases. So this is same. Air gets liquefied, कंप्रेस होने के बाद एयर लिक्विफाइड हो जाएगी, एंड दिस एयर इज़ अलाउड टू वार्म अप स्लोली इन द फ्रैक्शनल डिस्टिलेशन एज पर द फ्लो चार्ट. तो आप फ्लो चार्ट देखेंगे, दैट इज़ फ्रॉम योर NCERT. Initially this flow chart is very very important for the final exam. We can take the air. So air is compressed. First air is compressed and cooled by increasing pressure and decreasing temperature. So you have to put the flow chart, and first you have to explain how it is compressed by giving the condition. After compressing, the air become the liquid air. So after liquid air allows to warm up slowly in the fractional distillation column. Then you use the fractional distillation column to warm up. After, gases get separate at the different heights. गैसेस सेपरेट हो जाएंगे डिफरेंट हाइट पे सेटअप होने के बाद आपकी जो ऑक्सीजन है उसका जो बॉइलिंग पॉइंट है -183 डिग्री सेल्सियस, आर्गन -186 डिग्री सेल्सियस, नाइट्रोजन -196 डिग्री सेल्सियस, and the percentage volume is 20.9, 0.9, 78.1. That means initially nitrogen separated because of the temperature, and at last oxygen in the form of liquid oxygen separated. I explained you in the diagram also, but here you can see in the flow chart -196 is of nitrogen, that is 78.1% by the air volume, and oxygen is -183 degree Celsius, 20.9% air by volume. Here is the diagram. You can see this diagram. So initially filter is there, so filter in this air is entered. When air entered, air under pressure, so there is a compressing compartment where air under pressure compress and it become hot. So in this pipe the hot air goes, and here it is a water out and freezing cold in water. So there is a compartment, this is acting as a condensing compartment, condenser, where the hot air become the cool in nature. Then the separator is there. Separator separate the carbon dioxide as a dry ice, solid CO2, and then liquid air with the help of expansion jet, nitrogen out and argon out, fractional distillation column को use करते हुए. So if we are using the fractional distillation column, nitrogen gets out, argon gets out, so the two gases gets out and the solid CO2 gets out. So here only the liquid oxygen, there is a particular surface level where the only liquid oxygen left. So in this way you can separate these gases, oxygen, argon, nitrogen, and at initial stage solid CO2. So in this way the separation of gases takes place using the fractional distillation process, for example, to obtain different gases from the air. Next is crystallization process. So you can see the crystals of copper sulfate solution, and this is of your potassium permanganate solution. So here is the technique: crystallization and fractional crystallization. Principle is, this method is based on the difference in the solubility of solid in a liquid. Technique is, this method involves dissolving the mixture completely in water and heating this mixture. Further cooling of this mixture results in the formation of crystals of a less soluble solid on the surface of the solution. Crystallization, the process of formation of crystal from a hot saturated solution by cooling. Fractional crystallization, the process of separation of the two solids with the different solubility. So here you can see the diagram. Here is a burner on which the impure mixture containing some impurities, after burning or after cooling down, the crystallization takes place. Pure crystal form, and pure crystal is basically having no impurities. That's why we form the crystals and then take the melting point of that crystals, so that we get the accurate. But if we are taking the melting point of the compound containing the impurities, then we get the that we cannot get the accurate melting point. For example, preparation of the pure copper sulfate crystals in the lab, purification of the salts obtained from the sea, separation of the crystals of alum, that is your fitkri alum, from the pure salts. So these methods you do in your higher studies, crystallization process, and form the crystals of the copper sulfate solution, and many more. So this is the process of crystallization, which is one of the important to separate the impurities from the formation of compounds. Next is your magnetic separation. You can do at your home also. You take the example of sand and magnetic iron particles. So if you are take the mixture of sand and iron particles, then you put the magnet in it, the sand separate from the iron particles. So you can also do at your home magnetic separation process instead of using in this, and I also explain you in class and do the activity when the school open. Magnetic separation principle. This method is based on the magnetic and non-magnetic properties of the solid particles. Technique. This method involves the separation of the magnetic particles from the non-magnetic particle using a magnet. There is one experiment relating to the magnetic separation, homogeneity and heterogeneity of iron and sulfide in your practical aspect also. I send you the practical. Diagram is this. There is a magnet and iron Fe and sulfur S. So when iron is reacting with sulfur, it becomes FeS, iron sulfide. And when we take the iron sulfide mixture and put the iron plus sulfide, we are taking in different column and then mix, we get separate easily because the iron fillings are different and powder is different. So magnet take the iron fillings from the mixture and we can, but if we do the reaction between the iron and sulfur, suppose we are first initially mixing the iron Fe plus sulfur, then it forms the FeS when the compound form, and then we try to separate the iron fillings from that, so that is not possible because the compound is formed. So if the compound is formed, heterogeneity lost, it becomes the homogeneous in nature. So the separation from the magnet is difficult as compared to in this. So magnetic separation is one of the technique to separate the magnetic and non-magnetic substances. For example, the separation of the iron particles from the unwanted piece of glass, plastic or other metallic trash. So here are the two types of magnet. There is one bar magnet having the north and south pole, and there is one horseshoe magnet that is present in the above. So these are the magnetic separation technique. Now filtration and decantation that we are also using in our home also. The first is filtration process. Filtration is the process of separating suspended solid matter from a liquid by causing the latter to pass through the pores of some substance called a filter, and the liquid which has passed through the filter is called the filtrate. So here you are taking the conical flask on which you are putting the funnel. On funnel you are putting filter paper in the curve shape so that it can fit the neck of the funnel. Then you put the mixture from the beaker containing the mixture. When you are putting the mixture, the residue, the brown color residue, that means if you are taking the mud water and you are separate the mud from water, then you have to put the liquid mixture in the filter paper. This is the normal filter paper, and the residue, suppose mud is collected here at the bottom and all the liquid part in the conical flask. That means the liquid part is known to be the filtrate and the mud particle is known to be the residue, that is the solid particle. So this is the one of the technique used in labs, that is filtration process. This is decantation. Decantation is a process for the separation of mixture of immiscible liquids or of the liquids and a solid mixture such as suspension. So here you can, this is a normal process. Two beakers, there is a sediments, you can separate with beaker to beaker by using the glass rod. That is a simple and the easy process, decantation process, that can be done manually. There is no need of funnel, filter paper, etc. So there is another so many physical processes that are used. Methods of separation, simple methods of separating substance such as hand picking, you can take by hand picking. So this is again physical method. Winnowing, sieving or threshing. So these are the four methods that are also used for separation and that are come under the separating techniques. Now we consider the elements. Here we can done with the separating techniques. Now we come on the elements. As you know very well, elements is of three types: metals, non-metals and metalloids. So there are three elements. Now here is the difference between the metals and non-metals. तो difference आपने बहुत पहले भी अपनी 8th class में पढ़ा है. So difference is about the physical property. Metals are solid at room temperature except mercury and gallium. So these are the exception points with the differences. Non-metal generally exist as solid in gases except bromine. Melting point and boiling point. Metals generally have the high melting and boiling point except gallium and cesium. Non-metals have the low melting point and boiling point except diamond and graphite. About density, generally high, generally low. Malleability and ductility. Malleability is the property to convert in thin sheets on hammering, and ductility is to convert in thin wire on hammering. So metals are ductile as well as malleable. Non-metals are neither malleable nor ductile. Electrical and thermal conductivity. Metals good conductor of heat and electricity. Non-metals generally poor conductor of heat and electricity except graphite. Lustrous is the shininess, possess shining luster and do not have luster except iodine. So iodine is a non-metal which is only non-metal having lustrous property. Sonorous sound gives sonorous sound when struck, does not give sonorous sound. Hardness generally hard except sodium and potassium. Both are the soft and highly reactive metals that can be cut with the help of knife. And non-metals, solid non-metals are generally soft except diamond. Diamond is the hardest metal, non-metal, which is one of the allotrope of carbon. And what are metalloids? A metalloid is an element that has the property that are intermediate between those of metals and non-metals. Metalloid can be also called as semi-metals. तो सेमी मेटल्स होते हैं जिनमें मेटल्स की और नॉन मेटल की दोनों की प्रॉपर्टी होती है. दीज आर द मेटल्स. आई गिव यू द एग्जांपल: लेड, टिन, गोल्ड, प्लेटिनम, कॉपर, निकल एटसेट्रा. Non-metals: carbon, phosphorus, sulfur, carbon, diamond, and these are the metalloids: boron, silicon, germanium, arsenic, antimony, and tellurium. These are the metalloids at the last, and these are the non-metals. These are the physical and chemical changes. So next topic is physical and chemical changes. In a physical change, metal changes from form but not chemical identity. Whereas chemical change, there is a chemical reaction has to be takes place to form the new product. For examples, you can see melting ice. So melting ice need know if there is a change because of the volume change, there is a temperature change, or there is a length change, mass change, that all are come in the physical changes. That means melting of ice is not a chemical reaction, it is a physical change because only temperature is changing here. Chopping wood, here is nothing change, solid convert into solid after breaking down. Shredding papers, so there is no chemical change, only cutting of the paper takes place. Mixing grey and green marbles, so there is only mixing takes place, there is physical aspect. But if we see the chemical change, all having the chemical reaction. Burning wood, burning of wood is combustion process, so there is a chemical reaction. C plus O2 give you CO2, and any carbon material you can burn, so that is your burning wood. Mixing vinegar and baking soda, when you are mixing vinegar and baking soda, so there is some type of reaction because vinegar is your acetic acid and baking soda having the formula, so there is a formation of carbon dioxide takes place. You can see here the rotting banana. The rotting banana is one of your chemical reaction because the oxidation processes takes place, and firework is your fusion process where the nuclear reactions takes place. So here all having the chemical reactions. So when the chemical reactions are used, this change is known to be the chemical change. Now there is a difference between the physical and chemical change. Physical changes only affect physical properties. Chemical changes will affect both physical and chemical properties. Physical change produce no energy. Chemical change produce energy generally in the form of heat, light, or sound. Physical changes produce no new substances. The atoms are arranged the same way in the products and reactants. Chemical changes produce new substances. The atoms rearrange and form new compounds. Physical changes are generally easy to reverse, and chemical changes are not easily reversible without an additional chemical reaction. So this is a proper difference between chemical and the physical change you can do. Now we are we are dealing with all the concepts of is matter around us pure. Now we are dealing with some hand tricky questions, or how can you deal the question. Suppose there is a separating technique, you have to tell sand plus iron. So magnetic separation, cream from milk, centrifugation, salt plus water, evaporation, ammonium chloride plus NaCl, sublimation, copper sulfate plus water, crystallization, rice and dal, uncooked, hand picking you can do. Gases from air, fractional distillation. Petrol, diesel, crude from crude oil is fractional distillation. Drugs from blood, chromatography. Acetone from water, distillation, simple distillation. So these are the important points that are also in your NCERT exam that I discuss in next video. Now up to here this chapter is completed. Now I can explain you some portfolio work you have to make from this chapter. So in this way you can make the portfolio work that are made it by the student last year. So you can make like that: physical and chemical process, sublimation technique, and there is a difference between chemical change, physical change, metal, non-metal. So in this way you can make the portfolio work any one of the sheet. This is the crystallization process, physical change, chemical change. So in this way you have to make only one activity from this chapter and one activity from the matter in our surrounding. That is the first chapter. I give you the heading of the portfolio in the e-content PDF form later, but these are the ways you can make the portfolio work. Thank you.